So it's just under 5 minutes. Just under 5 minutes into the end of the Park for May for the men. Just under 5 to the end of the Park for May for the men. Just another reminder to our jury members: it is 9:30. It is 9:30. That fall back, spring ahead. That's the rule for daylight savings time. Park for May for the men is now closed. Park for May for the men is now closed. Say 20-minute warning until we begin with today's race. Again, the women are before the men today. Women before the men today. 5 4-runner sleds for today. Order for the women: Kendall, Katie, Savannah, Megan, Kelly, Sarah, Mystique, Kristen, and Lauren. Order for the men: Austin, Andrew, Alex, Mike, Austin, Steve, Dan, Max, and Chris. 10 o'clock start time. 10 o'clock start time. It's a 10 o'clock start time. For those of you not familiar with daylight savings time, it is 9:40 a.m. It's a 15-minute warning until we begin. 15-minute warning until we begin. Thank you for tuning in online. If you're joining us so far, thank you for being here trackside. This is 2019 USABS Team Trials Race number 4. Start time is 10 a.m. Women are first, men are after women. It's a 10-minute warning until we begin. 10-minute warning until we begin for today. 5 4-runner sleds, Onder, Katie, Leslie, Hunter, and Zach. Then we move on to the women for Kendall, Katie, Savannah, Megan, Kelly, Sarah, Mystique, Kristen, and Lauren. For the men, we have Austin, Andrew, Alex, Mike, Austin, Steve, Daniel, Chris, and Max and Chris. Max and Chris. Four four-runner sleds. Four four-runner sleds. Just under 5 minutes until we begin. 4 4-runner sleds for today. Just under 5 minutes until we begin. Our 4-runners for today, Onder, Leslie, Hunter, and Zach. Then we start with the women, and we'll move on to the men. Good luck to all of our competitive athletes joining us here today. Track's clear. 2 start, 1 for Onder. Sled in from start 1. This is Onder Mirambel, representing Spain. Onders is a 4-runner sled for today. He's into curve 1. Thank you for joining us, everybody. This is Team Trials race number 4 for the United States Skeleton Team. Beautiful Sunday morning here in Lake Placid. We had some good conditions yesterday. We saw the women's field 0.2 of a second off of the track record. The men's sleds coming down 0.4 off that track record. So we got some quick ice here over the weekend. That's great compared to last weekend for the first and second race. The third and fourth race, much quicker. This is our Spanish friend acting as a 4-runner sled, testing in the ice conditions, making sure everything's functioning properly. All the curves are where they were as we left them the day before. Onder's on his way through curve 17, down 18, and climbing curve 19. Thank you for tuning in online. The women are up first today, and then we have the men's race. That was our Spanish 4-runner through and down. We'll have our Swedish 4-runner up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Leslie. So let in track from start 1. This is Leslie Stratton, representing Sweden. Another one of our Forerunner sleds joining us here in Lake Placid, helping us out with the Team Charles race. Exciting start to the season here in Lake Placid. Lots of news from throughout the world as far as double World Cups here. Huge NAC competition coming up later in November. If you're around, please join us. We'd love to have you here. Sliding through curves 8, 9 into 10, Shady 2. Again, this is our Swedish Forerunner sled, Leslie Stratton. This is our second of 4 Forerunner sleds. Our Forerunner sleds are reaching some good speeds, so it should be very exciting for our competitive field here today. Through the chicane, sliding into curve 17. Once again, for today, 9 competitive sleds for the women, 9 for the men. And the Swedes through and down, crossing the finish line. We'll have our third Forerunner sled up next. Hunter, please stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Hunter. So let in from start 1. This is Hunter Williams. He's sliding through curve 1. It's our third of 4 Forerunner sleds for today. This is Hunter Williams of Team USA. He'll be through Cliffside, down into Whiteface, out onto the Devil's Highway. Once again, North America's Cup coming up here week after next. We're going to be doing some paid training. Some of the world's best bobsled and skeleton athletes are going to be joining us here in Lake Placid to battle it out, get some ice time before the World Cup competitions in early December. Through the bend, through the chicane, and into curve 17. Another quick day here on the Lake Placid track. Sleds are going to be reaching speeds probably around 74, 75 miles per hour today. And our third Forerunner sled through and down. Our fourth Forerunner sled, please stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Zach. Sled in from start 1. This is Zach Woodwin. Slide in through curve 1. A little bit of snow falling here in Lake Placid today. It's a winter wonderland. Not quite. Will be soon. Don't worry. Sliding cliffside into Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. Once again, for our spectators joining us here today, this is the 2019 US ABS Skeleton Team Trials. This is race number 4. It's a team selection race. It's determine who goes out on tours. You have the World Cup, you have the ICC Intercontinental Cup, and you have North America's Cup. And you have Europa Cup. Let's not forget about Europa Cup. And of course, just a reminder to our spectators, please no flash photography and stay away from the track at all times. You don't need to touch the track. It's made of ice. It's no different from the ice that you play hockey on. That was Zach Goodwood through and down, our first competitive slider. Kendall Wessenberg, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Kendall. Sled in from start 1. This is Kendall Wessenberg. Sliding curve 1, start time for Kendall, 5.69. 5.69 start for Kendall. Not quite as quick as we've seen in the other races from Kendall off the top of the track. Kendall very skilled here in Lake Placid. She should be able to find some good time coming down the course. We'll check her speeds in the usual places. We'll check 10, we'll check 14. Through 8 and 9, sliding 10, shady 2. Once again, this is Kendall Wessenberg, 9 competitive sleds, joining us for our women's competition here today. 68.3 miles per hour speed, a little bit down versus yesterday. Kendall now through the chicane, sliding into curve 17. Big hello and shout out to Team China, who found their way up onto the hill today. Welcome to Lake Placid, Team China. Kendall Wessenberg true and down at 56.02. That'll be the time to beat for our first heat. Up next, we'll have Katie Eulander. Katie, stand by. Track's clear. 2 start, 1 for Katie. Sled in from start 1. This is Katie Eulander. Down the drive line in curve 1 with a start time of 5.42. 5.42 start for Katie. That's going to put her in quite a bit of an advantage off the top of the track. About a third of a second to work with for Katie as she traces down Kendall Wessenberg. Katie looking for to jump up a spot or two here. She's doing fairly well over the series of the races. Was down a little bit yesterday. Didn't affect her too much points-wise. Into curve 10, shady 2 with 4/10 in the bank. Exiting 10 and down through the labyrinth. Speed at 68.6 miles per hour. Good speed for Katie as she exits the bend through the chicane into curve 17 with 5/10 in the bank. Down 18, climbing curve 19. And Katie Eulander well ahead of the pace through and down into first place with a down time of 55.60. We'll have Savannah Graybill up next. Savannah, stand by. Track's clear. 2 start, 1 for Savannah. Sled in from start 1. This is Savannah Graybill. Into curve 1 with a start time of 5.53. 5.53 the start for Savannah. She'll be a 1/10 of a second off the pace set by Katie Eulander. It's Katie and Kendall 1 and 2. Savannah was 2/10 off the track record yesterday on her first run. See how she does here today. Very quick coming down the track on this Lake Placid course. 55.60 or better would put her into first place here on her first run. Just under 2/10 off as she slides into 10, shady 2. Expect some good speed here through 10 for Savannah. Exiting 10 at 68.6 miles per hour through the labyrinth into 14. This is Savannah Graybill of Team USA chasing down her teammate, Katie Eulander. Now into 17, 2/10 back. It's going to be close here at the finish line. This is Savannah finding a little bit of time through the lower portion of the track. Will she catch up? Not quite. A 1/10 back. 55.72 the down time for Savannah. They're on run number 1. We have Meg Henry up next. Meg, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Meg. Sledding from start 1. This is Meg Henry. We should see a big start here from Meg. Sliding into a 1 with a 5.23 start. Solid start for Meg. Fastest one we've seen so far today. Meg is going to be chasing down Katie. You're on run number 1. 55.60 is the time to beat. 3/10 in the bank for Meg Henry. She had a good day yesterday. She's looking to do the same here today. Now down through the Devil's Highway, finding a little bit more time there in those upper straightaways, up to 4/10 of an advantage as she progresses down into curve 10, Shady 2. It's currently Katie, Savannah, and Kendall, 1, 2, and 3, with Meg Henry in track, doing 69 miles per hour in curve 10. Through the Labyrinth into 14, Benham's Bend. And through the chicane into curve 17 at 71.7, maintaining her speed. Just a touch of a skid there in the chicane. It shouldn't affect her too much. Down 18, climbing curve 19. She's going to buy some insurance here on run number 1. Through and down ahead of the pace set by Katie by 4/10 of a second with a down time of 55.20 for Meg Henry. We'll have Kelly Curtis up next. Kelly, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Kelly. Sled in from start 1. This is Kelly Curtis. Sliding curve 1, start time for Kelly Curtis of 5.58, putting her a third of a second off the pace set by Meg Henry. The time she's looking to beat will be a 55.20. It's currently Meg, Katie, and Savannah sitting 1, 2, and 3. Good stuff through the upper straightaways. She's going to fall back just a little bit further, though. Not quite the speed she was looking for there in the upper curves of the track, so it's going to cost her a touch of time as she makes her way into curve 10, Shady 2. Back by 8/10, speed 68.5 in Shady 2. Little offline there through 11 and 12. Going to be a little late there through the Labyrinth. Speeds down just a bit, 68.9 miles per hour as she enters the heart of the track, down 18, climbing 19. This is Kelly Curtis through the finish curve into 5th place with a time of 56.82. Back by a little over a second off the pace set by Meg Henry. We'll have Sarah Roderick up next. Sarah, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Sarah. Sled in from start 1. This is Sarah Roderick. Sliding curve 1, start time 5.30 coming into today's race. Ranked number 6. 10th of a second off the pace. Strong start for Sarah, 5.30. That's a nice competitive start for our women's field here in the Lake Placid course. Still about a 10th off as she slides down through the Devil's Highway, looking for a 55.20 or better in order to chase down Megan Henry. So far, so good here. She progresses into curve 10, Shady 2. Not losing too much time there. She enters curve 10, only a quarter of a second off the pace set by Meg. It's still Megan, Katie, and Savannah sitting 1, 2, and 3. A little over halfway through our women's competitive field. This is Sarah Roderick, currently in course. Behind by 4/10. Speed 71.1 miles per hour through the chicane and into the heart. And now climbing curve 19, half a second off the pace. Solid run for Sarah Roderick, puts her into 4th with a downtime of 55.81. 55.81 the downtime for Sarah Roderick. We'll have Mystique Rowe up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Mystique. So let in track from start 1. This is Mystique Rowe. Mystique, a quick starter for Team USA. 5.25 start time for Mystique. That is close to the fastest start we've seen so far today. That was 0.02 of a second off of Meg Henry's start, so second fastest start time we've seen today for Mystique Rowe. Progressing down through the Devil's Highway of the track, 1/10 of a second back, down through 6 and 7 into Shady 2. Still just about 3/10 back here. She chases down Megan Henry. The time she's looking to beat is a 55.20. Speed in Shady 2, 67.4. A little late out of curve 12. Through the bend, through the chicane, into curve 17, 70.4. Speed's just a touch down off some of our top sleds. But Mystique's having a good run here for race number 4, run number 1. 8/10 back and crossing the finish line. The time for Mystique Rowe of 56.12. Going to put her in 6th after her first run. We'll have Kristen Hurley up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Kristen. Sled in from start 1. This is Kristen Hurley. Sliding curve 1 start time for Kristen Hurley of 5:49, 55.20. The time she's looking to beat. 2 sleds remain in our women's competitive field. Through Cliffside into Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. 4/10 back off the pace. 5:49 start time there for Kristen Hurley. Through the Devil's Highway. It's currently Megan, Katie, and Savannah sitting 1, 2, and 3. Top 3 sleds separated by just about 0.5 of a second. Should be some close racing on run number 2. Kristen Hurley through the labyrinth into 14, back by a little over a second here as she tries to chase down Megan Henry through the chicane into 17, speed at 69.3 miles per hour as she slides the heart. Climbing up through the finish curve, 19 total curves for the supportive skeleton here in Lake Placid. Kristen Hurley threw in down at 57.07, putting her in 8th place after her first run. We'll have Lauren McDonald up next. Reminder to our spectators, no flash photography. No flash photography. Once again, a reminder to all spectators, no flash photography. Track's clear to start 1 for Lauren. So, led in track from start 1, this is Lauren McDonald. Looking for the 55.20 or better in order to move up into first place. Megan Henry sitting atop the leader box, followed by Katie Eulander in second. Savannah Graybill sits in third. 2/10 off the pace there, off the top of the track for Lauren McDonald, posting a start time of 5:39. Through the upper straightaways, through Whiteface and down the Devil's Highway. Still about 4/10 back. Cleaned up some of the lines on the top of the track from yesterday for Lauren, so she's got a little bit of speed here as she progresses through Shady 2. Snow is really starting to come down. I'm a little bit nervous about the jury's sweeping protocol up there. Should be sweeping every sled all the way down to the 50-meter mark. Through the chicane into curve 17. This is Lauren McDonald in track, back by just about a second and a half as she progresses through the heart of the track. Speed was 67.7 miles per hour. And Lauren's through and down into 9th place with a time of 57.50. We're going to move on to our men's competition up next. Up first for the men, we have Austin Florian. Track's clear to start 1 for Austin. Sled in from start 1. This is Austin Florian. What's Austin going to do for a start here today? It's going to be a 4.94. Huge start, just like usual for Austin Florian. It's going to set him up nicely for his first run here today. Once again, we're moving on to the men's competition. 9 competitive sleds for the men. We'll see how the men are doing down in the bottom section of the track as far as speed goes. It should be another quick day here today. Was for the women. But we have a little bit of snow moving in. It's interesting weather here today. It's definitely been a week of just about everything you can imagine as far as rain, sleet, and snow. Strange line there in curve 11 for Austin Florian, but I think it set him up pretty nicely there for his curve 13. 73.5. Solid stuff for Austin Florian. It's going to be a good run. This will be the bar set for the men's race right here. Through and down. Time of 54.09. Good run out of Austin Florian. We'll have Andrew Blazer up next. Andrew, stand by. Track's clear. 2 start, 1 for Andrew. Sled in from start 1. This is Andrew Blazer. Progressing into the first curve of the track with a 5:02 start time. Not quite as quick as the start we saw from Austin Florian, but it's still a very competitive start for Andrew Blazer. 1/10 of a second back as he slides down through the Devil's Highway. Not too far back here for Andrew. He definitely knows how to find the time down the track. We'll see how he's doing for speed here in Shady 2. It's Austin Florian sitting in first. The time to beat 54.09. Andrew Blazer with some solid speed, 69.3 miles per hour in curve 10. Now down into 14, the fastest curve on the track. He's going to kick it up a notch, 72.9. Not quite as fast as Austin Florian. Still a good run, though, here for Andrew Blazer. Down 18, climbing curve 19, 3/10 back as he crosses the finish line into second place with a down time of 54.60. Up next, we'll have Alex Ivanov. Alex, stand by. Track's clear. 2 start, 1 for Alex. Sled in from start 1. This is Alex Ivanov. Slide in 1. 5:05 start time for Alex Ivanov. He has come up through the ranks here over the past 2 weeks. Strong start time. 5:05 is going to help his cause here for race number 4. 54.09 or better would put him into first place here on run 1. It's Austin Florian sitting in first place with a downtime of 55.09. Andrew Blazer sits in second at 54.60. Alex Ivanov is in track into 10, Shady 2. Exiting 10 and down the labyrinth at 69.5 miles per hour. He's only 2/10 back, and he is finding time here in the lower section of the track. Through the chicane into curve 17, 0.15 of a second behind, but it looks like it might start going the other way here. Down 18, climbing curve 19, 0.19 back now. Alex Ivanov through and down into second place, back by 0.2 of a second. 54.32 the downtime for Alex Ivanov. We'll have Mike Ruggles up next. Mike, stand by. Track's clear. 2 start, 1 for Mike. So, led in track from start 1. This is Mike Ruggles. Coming into curve 1 with a start time of 5:17. 5:17 start for Mike Ruggles, putting him at 0.2 of a second behind the pace. Speed's going to be down through the start curve, so he's going to be looking to make up some ground here in the lower portion of the track. He's going to be chasing down Austin Florian. Right now, we have Austin sitting in first, Alex Ivanov in second. Andrew Blazer sits in third. Mike Ruggles is in track. Sliding through 10, Shady 2. Speed for Mike Ruggles, 69.4 miles per hour. Into curve 14, Benham's Bend. Back by 0.4 of a second, 73 miles per hour for Mike Ruggles. So that's some solid speed there. Little late out of 17. Not really a little, very late out of 17. Down at a time of 54.61, putting him in fourth place with a time of 54.61. 5/10 back off the pace. Austin McCrary, stand by. Track is clear to start 1 for Austin McCrary. Sled in from start 1. This is Austin McCrary. Into curve 1 start time for Austin of 5:32. 54.09 or better would put him up into first place. Was this snow even forecasted today? I feel like we need to turn some Christmas music on. It's not too early for that, right? All the department stores are doing it. Through Whiteface coming down through the Devil's Highway. This is Austin McCrary. He's going to be chasing down Austin Florian. It's Austin versus Austin right now. 54.09 is the time he's looking to beat, but he's about 7/10 of a second off that pace. This snow might be affecting some of our athletes later in the field's runs. We can use that as an excuse, right? Sliding 14 through the chicane and into curve 17. 7/10 back as he progresses into the heart of the track. Good speed, 73.2 for Austin McCrary as he climbs up through the finish curve. And he'll be crossing the line with a downtime of 54.78, 6/10 back. Fifth place downtime there for Austin McCrary. Steve Garbett, stand by. Track's clear. 2-1 for Steve. So, letting track from start 1, this is Steve Garbett. Sliding into curve 1 with a start time of 5:10. Big start for Steve. That's going to help his cause here. You're going to need a lot of speed off that start groove there in order to keep your speed down the track with this snow coming down. Quarter of a second off there through the upper straightaways. Through Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. Once again, this is Steve Garbett. Through the Devil's Highway of the track. Strange 6 and 7 there for Steve. It's going to cost him a little bit of time. Into 10, Shady 2. Back by 5/10. We'll check his speed here in Shady 2. It's going to be 67.8 miles per hour, so it's a little bit off what we've seen from some of our fastest sleds. Right now it's Austin, Alex, and Andrew 1, 2, and 3. Steve Garbett doing a little bit of kicking there in the chicane to get his sled back on track. Down 18, climbing curve 19, and back by a second and a half here as he crosses the finish line into sixth place at 55.83. We'll have Dan Barefoot up next. Dan, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Dan. So letting track from start 1, this is Dan Barefoot. Making his way down the ramp into curve 1 with a 5:06 start time. Good start for Dan. That'll help him out here for his first run. Once again, this is Dan coming through Cliffside into Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. 0.2 of a second off the pace. Looking for the 54.09 downtime set by Austin Florian. Austin's in first. Alex is in second. Andrew Blazer sits in third. We haven't had any ties yet in all of our 4 races. Maybe we'll see one today. 69.5 miles per hour through curve 10. Shady 2. Not far behind. Good run here for Dan Barefoot. 0.3 back as he enters the heart of the track. Down 18. Climbing curve 19. About 0.4 back here as he climbs up through the finish curve, through and down. And he is into 5th place. The downtime, 54.68. 54.68 downtime for Dan Barefoot. We'll have Max DeLance up next. Max, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Max. Sled in from start 1. This is Max DeLance. Sliding 1 start time from Max DeLance of 5:17, putting him 2/10 off the top of our track here in Lake Placid. 54:09 is the downtime everybody's looking to beat here on run number 1, set by Austin Florian. Alex Ivanov sits in second at a 54:32. Andrew Blazer sits in third at a 54:60. Now into curve 10, Shady 2. This is Max DeLance, currently in track 5/10 back, sliding down through the labyrinth into curve 14, Benham's Bend. Apparently, Team China has set up base camp at curve 12, doing a little bit of reconnaissance there. Sliding through 17. Again, this is Max DeLance, down 18, climbing 19, 7/10 back. And crossing the finish line with a down time of 55:22. We'll have Chris Stroop up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Chris. Sled in from start 1. This is Chris Stroop. Chris always has some quick starts. 4:96. That's a very good start time for Chris Stroop. Put some 200ths of a second off the pace of our current leader. It's the second fastest start time for the men's first heat of competition. 1/10 of a second back here through the upper straightaways, through Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. I just got a text message. I don't even have to look at it. I know what you're going to ask. Slide in 10, Shady 2. Let me guess, it involves aerators. Through 12, 13 into 14, Benham's Bend. You guys know where they are, right? Takes mixed gas. Down 18, climbing curve 19. And Chris Stroop climbing up through curve 19. He's going to be a second back, crossing the finish line, 55:48. That'll complete our men's first heat of competition. You sure just the chicane? That seems like you're being modest. Which one is it? The whole track or the chicane? So we'll take just about a 25-minute break. We're going to be doing a little bit of sweeping in the chicane. We're going to do a little bit of sweeping in the chicane, so everybody hold tight. We're in between heats. Anticipate start list coming up shortly. Attention jury, it's star one. The start list should be printing off. And we're about 15 minutes out-ish before we begin with the second heat. Be 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. 10 minutes until we begin. So 11:02 start time for our forerunners. It's a 5-minute warning to our forerunner sleds, 5-minute warning to our forerunner sleds, 5-minute warning to our forerunners. Okay, folks, it's a 2-minute warning to our forerunner sleds. There'll be a 5-minute break in between the women's and the men's heat in order for a quick cleaning of the start. Track is clear to start one. Start one for Leslie. Sled in from start one. This is Leslie Stratton. This is our Swedish forerunner sled. We have 3 4-runner sleds before we begin with the women's second heat of competition. And once again, for our athletes, there'll be a 5-minute break in between the women's second heat and the men's second heat in order to clean out the start. This is our 4-runner sled, Leslie, through Whiteface, coming down through the Devil's Highway. She'll have a nice, clean chicane to slide through here on the second run. Through 8 and 9 into 10, Shady 2. Thank you to our spectators joining us here trackside and online today. This is race number 4, Heat 2 for the USABS Team Trials race. Leslie, our Swedish friend, forerunning for today through the chicane into curve 17. And down 18, climbing curve 19. And Leslie's crossing the finish line. We'll have Hunter Williams up next. Hunter, stand by. Track's clear. 2-star 1 for Hunter. Sled and track from star 1. This is Hunter Williams. This is our second of 3 4-runner sleds before we begin with the women's second heat of competition. Sliding through curve 1. It's still snowing here in Lake Placid. The jury's got their work cut out for them up on the start ramp. It's a very strict sweeping protocol for today. Through Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. Once again, this is Hunter Williams. Through 8 and 9 into 10, Shady 2. This is a 4-runner sled testing our ice conditions. Testing the timing equipment, making sure the track is safe for the competitive sleds. Through 12, 13, and 14, Benham's Bend. Sleds are reaching speeds today of around 74 miles per hour for a top speed. Fastest curve in the track known as Benham's Bend. It's curve 14. A little difficulty in the lower portion of the track for our 4-runner sled as he climbs up through the finish curve. He'll be through and down. Our third 4-runner sled, Zach Goodwin, stand by. Track's clear. 2-star 1 for Zach. Sled in from start 1. This is Zach Goodwin. Sliding curve 1. This is a 4-runner sled. This is our third and final 4-runner sled before we begin with the women's second heat. Up first for the women, we'll have Lauren McDonald. This is Zach Goodwin coming down through the Devil's Highway of the track. This is a Team USA development athlete in his second year. Sliding 10, Shady 2. A little difficulty there in curve 10 for Zach Goodwin. Going to be a little early out, so he's going to take some pressure there on the exit. He's going to rise up on that short wall and have a nice little tap down, exiting 14 through the chicane. On his way into 17, 66 miles per hour for the 4-runner sled. Down 18, climbing 19. And our 4-runner sled's crossing the finish line. Lauren, stand by. Track's clear. 2-star 1 for Lauren. Sled in from start 1. This is Lauren McDonald in track for her second run of the day. Start time here on run number 2, 5:40 for Lauren. 57.50 was her first run down time. Looking to jump up a spot or two here in race number 4 for the final heat of the Team Trials Race Series. Now through the upper straightaways, through Whiteface, down through the Devil's Highway. Again, this is Lauren McDonald. 9 competitive sleds joining us in heat number 2. Through 8 and 9 into 10, Shady 2. Lauren through 10 and down the Labyrinth at 65.7 miles per hour. I think we're going to see that snow that's coming down out of the sky affecting some of our sled speeds here today. Through the chicane into curve 17, it's going to turn out to be an interesting second run for sure for the ladies and the men. Down through 18, climbing curve 19. Lauren McDonald will be crossing the finish line. Her down time 57.62 with a 1:55.12 combined time. She'll sit in first. First sled down. Kristen Hurley, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Kristen. So let in track from start 1. This is Kristen Hurley. 57.07 on our first run, looking for a 58.05 here on run number 2. 5:57 start time for Kristen Hurley. That's going to set her up relatively well here for her second run, 2/10 ahead of the pace set by Lauren McDonald. Lauren had a very good top of the track, so we're going to see the time fluctuate here as she progresses down through the Devil's Highway portion. This is Kristen Hurley currently in track. Just a bit, about a tenth of a second in the green here. She makes her way into big curve 10, Shady 2. Once again, looking for a 58.05 or better. Down through the Labyrinth, 65.8 miles per hour there in curve 10, giving her 2/10 in the bank here. She progresses into the heart of the track, top speed in 14:68.8. This is Kristen Hurley. 4/10 ahead of the pace set by our leader, Lauren McDonald, as she climbs up through the finish curve. Kristen Hurley will be well into first place with a downtime of 57.46. Her combined time, 1:54.53. Kelly Curtis, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Kelly. So let in track from start 1. This is Kelly Curtis. Loaded onto her sled down into curve 1. Start time for Kelly Curtis here on run 2. 5:58. 56.82 was her first run down time. 57.71 or better would put her into first place here on run 2. She has about 3/10 of a second to work with. Little late at a cliffside. Not too bad. Through Whiteface, coming down through the Devil's Highway. Once again, this is Kelly Curtis of Team USA. This is Team USA's Team Trials race. Through 8 and 9, sliding into 10, Shady 2. Quarter of a second in the bank. And up to 4/10 as she entered curve 10. A good speed here through the middle section of the track. 67.5 miles per hour for Kelly Curtis. Exiting the bend and through the chicane. Into the heart of the track, it's 70.5 miles per hour. Down 18 and climbing curve 19, Kelly Curtis well on her way into the lead with a down time of 56.89 and a 1:53.71 combined time ahead of the pace set by Kristen Hurley by 0.8 of a second. Mystique Rowe, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Mystique. Sled in track from start 1. This is Mystique Rowe. Start time for Mystique of 5.28. Very solid start time for Mystique. That's going to help her out here on run 2. Full second in the bank off the top over Kelly Curtis. Progressing down through these upper straightaways. First run down time 56.12. A 57.59 or better would put her into first. Here in her second run, this is Mystique Rowe in track. Some trouble there in the Devil's Highway for Mystique Rowe. It's going to cost her some speed. She'll drop down by about 0.2 of a second. She's only in the green by 0.5 now as she makes her way into curve 14, Benham's Bend. Still losing time, up by only 0.07 here. She exits curve 14, and she'll fall back into the red by 1/10, doing only 65.8 miles per hour through the chicane and into the heart. She'll fall back just a little bit further. A difficult Devil's Highway section really cost her a lot of time here on her second run through and down into third place. Down time of 58.52 with a combined time of 154.64. We'll have Sarah Roderick up next. Sarah, stand by. Track is clear to start 1 for Sarah. So, let in track from start 1, this is Sarah Roderick. About halfway through our competitive field for the ladies, 5.25 start time for Sarah Roderick, 55.81 on her first run. She'll have some time to work with off the top of the track, looking for a 57.90 or better in order to move up into first place. Solid start time, 5.25 for Sarah. Sets her up nicely here on run 2. She'll be chasing down Kelly Curtis. Right now, we currently have Kelly, Kristen, and Mystique sitting 1, 2, and 3. Sarah Roderick's in track on her way through 10 Shady 2. Check the speed here in Shady. Right around 66.1 miles per hour for Sarah Roderick. Making her way into curve 14, Benham's Bend, losing a little bit of time here. She still has plenty of time to work with through the heart of the track. Sarah Roderick into the heart of the course, 69.5 miles per hour, down 18, climbing up curve 19. 1.2 seconds in the bank as she crosses the finish line into first place with a 56.57 down time. Combined time of 152.38. Sarah Roderick moving up into first. Kelly Curtis second. Kristen Hurley third. Savannah Graybill is up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Savannah. So, let in track from start 1, this is Savannah Graybill. Sliding curve 1 start time for Savannah, 5.49, 55.72 down time on her first run. Savannah is looking for a 56.66 or better in order to move up into first place here on run number 2. Sarah Roderick sits in first with a combined time of 152.38. Savannah was 0.2 of a second off of the track record yesterday for the ladies on her first run. Savannah has some good runs down this Lake Placid track. She's dead even as she enters curve 10. It's dead even here for Savannah, now up by 0.2 of a second as she chases down the current leader, Sarah Roderick. Once again, this is Savannah Graybill through the chicane, sliding into curve 17 at 72.6 miles per hour with 0.6 of a second to work with. Down 18 and climbing up curve 19. Still maintaining her lead about a full second in the bank as she crosses the finish line with a 55.54 down time. Improving upon her first run down time, giving her a combined time of 151.26. That puts her in first. Savannah, Sarah, and Kelly 1, 2, and 3. Katie Eulander is up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Katie. Sled in from start 1, this is Katie Eulander. Veteran of Team USA for the sport of skeleton, sliding curve 1 with a 5.44 start time. 55.60 was her first run down time. She needs to pretty much match her first run down time here on run number 2. 55.66 or better would put her into first place. She's going to be chasing down her teammate Savannah Graybill here on run number 2, looking for a combined time better than 1:51.26. 2/10 in the bank here for Katie Eulander as she slides through 8 and 9 into big curve 10 Shady 2. Losing just a touch there, not too much in the Devil's Highway. Falling back just a little further here as she enters the labyrinth portion of the track. Speed in Shady 2, 68.5 miles per hour. Exiting the bend, 72 miles per hour. Only a tenth of a second to work with here through the heart of the track. Down 18, climbing curve 19, behind in the red by 0.07 of a second. Katie's going to fall back into second place behind the pace set by Savannah Graybill by 0.2 of a second. Up next, we're going to have Megan Henry. Meg, stand by. Track's clear. 2, start 1 for Meg. Sled in from start 1. This is Meg Henry. Expect a big start here out of Meg. Start time of 5:21, the fastest start time for the ladies' second heat. 55:20 was her first rundown time. Looking for a 56:06 here on run number 2. About a full second in the bank there through the upper straightaway from Meg Henry, progressing nicely down through the Devil's Highway of the track. Savannah's in first, Katie's in second, Sarah is in third. Meg Henry is in track, sliding into curve 10, Shady 2. 0.9 of a second to work with here for Meg Henry as she tries to chase down Savannah Graybill. 56:06 or better would put her in the lead here on the women's second and final heat of competition for the Team Trials Race Series. About 3/4 in the bank here through the chicane. Speed for Meg Henry, 71 miles per hour. Down 18 and climbing curve 19, 0.6 in the bank for Meg Henry as she crosses the line into first place with a down time of 55.50 and a 1:50.70 combined time. We have one competitive sled remaining for our women's discipline. That is Kendall Wessenberg. Kendall, stand by. Track's clear. 2, start 1 for Kendall. Sled in from start 1. This is Kendall Wessenberg, 56:02 on her first run. 5:63 start time here on run number 2. Looking for a 54.68 or better in order to move up into first place here on our second run. We have Meg Henry sitting in first. Savannah Graybill sits in second. Katie Eulander sits in third. Kendall Wessenberg is in track. Once again, looking for a 54.68 or better in order to jump up on top of the leader box. First run down time was 56:02 for Kendall Wessenberg, exiting curve 10 and down through the labyrinth. Speed was 68.6 miles per hour there in Shady 2. And speed on the exit of 14:72. Good speed from Kendall. But she'll be about a second back here as she tries to chase down our top 3. Down 18, climbing into curve 19. Again, this is Kendall Wessenberg crossing the finish line into fourth place with a down time of 55.81. Her combined time, 1:51.83. We'll take a 5-minute break and come back with the men's second heat. We're going to take a 5-minute break just for some track prep up at the start. Congratulations to Meg Henry. Savannah Graybill taking home second place today, and Katie Eulander taking home third. Congratulations, ladies. Up next, our men's second heat. Tracks clear to start 1 for Steve. Sled in from start 1. This is Steve Garbett representing Team USA. Sliding curve 1, start time for Steve of 5:11. 5:11 start time for Steve. 55.83 was his first run down time. He's looking for a little bit of a redemption on his second run. Wants to jump up a spot or two. Steve's very talented slider on this Lake Placid course. We'll see how he ends up as he makes his way down into the middle portion of the track. He'll be setting the pace here for run number 2 through 8 and 9, sliding into 10. We'll check Steve's speed here as he progresses into the labyrinth. He's going to be doing 69 miles per hour. Good speed for Steve Garbett. Through 13, 14 into the chicane. Looking at his speed here on the exit of 14, 71.7. This is good speed for Steve Garbett. Should be happy with this run. Down 18 and climbing curve 19. He's going to set the pace for our men's second heat with a down time of 54.96. 150.79 his combined time. Big improvement upon his first run down time. That's going to put him in first. As we progress into our second heat, Chris Stroop is up next. Track's cleared to start 1 for Chris. So, let in track from start 1. This is Chris Stroop. He'll be chasing down Steve Garbett. Time to beat 55.31. 5/10 in the bank off the top of the track for Chris Stroop, posting a start time of 4:95. 55.48 on his first run. Chris Stroop through Cliffside into Whiteface and down through the Devil's Highway. Chris Stroop very quick off the top. He buys himself a lot of real estate up top. About 5/10 in the bank here as he slides into curve 10, shady 2. Losing a little bit of time there. He's going to fall back into the red by the time he exits curve 10. Speed 66.3 miles per hour, 0.03 of a second in the red behind Steve Garbett. He was about 3 miles an hour slower there in shady, and he's going to be about 2 miles per hour slower there on the exit of curve 14. So about 1/3 of a second off the pace here. Down 18, climbing curve 19. This is Chris Stroop. Climbing up the finish curve and crossing the line with a down time of 56.01, giving him a combined time of 151.49. He'll sit in second. Up next, we'll have Max DeLance. Max, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Max. So, let in track from start 1. This is Max DeLance. Coming down into curve 1. Start time for Max DeLance of 5:24. First run down was a 55.22. He's looking for a 55.57 or better in order to jump up to the top of the leader box. Steve Garbett sitting in first place, followed by Chris Stroop in second. About 1/3 of a second to work with here as he enters the Devil's Highway. This is Max DeLance. Again, total of 9 competitive sleds joining us in our second heat. About 0.3 of a second to work with as he enters curve 10. 55.57 or better would put him up into first. Big skid there on the exit of curve 10 is going to cost him a little bit of speed. Cost him a little bit of time. 400ths now ahead of the pace. Falling back into the red by 200ths as he slides the chicane. This is Max DeLance. Trying to keep up with Steve Garbett here on his second and final run of the day. Back by 2/10 as he crosses the finish line into second place with a 55.79 down time. Combined time for Max DeLance of 151.01. So Steve Garbett will jump up another spot. Austin McCrary's up next. Austin, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Austin. So, let in track from start 1. This is Austin McCrary. It's currently Steve, Max, and Chris sitting 1, 2, and 3. 5:24 start time for Austin McCrary. 54.78 on his first run. He's looking for a 56.01 or better here on run 2. 8/10 in the green as he chases down Steve Garbett. Entering the Devil's Highway section of the track. Coming down through the 6-7 crossover, down around 8 and 9 into 10, shady 2. Still about 3/4 in the bank here. It's going to be losing a 1/10 here through each section. We'll be able to hang on to this time here. 68.9 miles per hour through shady 2. He's going to maintain his lead. He's doing very nicely here through the middle and lower section of the track. About 73 miles per hour for Austin McCrary. Down 18, climbing curve 19. He's going to be well on his way into first place. Posting a down time here on run number 2 of 55.01 with a combined time of 1:49.79. That'll make it Austin, Stephen, Max, 1, 2, and 3 for our second heat so far. We'll have Dan Barefoot up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Dan. So letting track from start 1, this is Dan Barefoot. Coming down the ramp into curve 1 with a start time of 5:03. That's a big start for Dan. 54.68 on his first run. Dan's going to be looking for a 55.11 or better in order to move into first. Austin McCrary sits atop the leader box with a 1:49.79 combined time. Steve Garbett in second at 1:57.9. Max DeLant in third at 1:51.01. Dan Barefoot through 8 and 9 into 10 shade 2. 5/10 in the green here as he slides into the labyrinth at 68.2 miles per hour. Through 13 into 14 Benham's Bend. He's losing a little bit of time there in the labyrinth. Didn't quite get the line he wanted through 11 and 12. 2/10 to work with here. 70.8 miles per hour through the heart of the track. Climbing curve 19. 3/100ths of a second in the green through the finish curve. He'll fall back into second with a downtime of 55.30. 1:49.98 the combined time for Dan Barefoot. Austin McCrary jumps up a spot. We'll have Mike Rogels up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Mike. So, letting track from start 1, this is Mike Rogels. Down the drive lines into 1 with a 5:14 start time, 54.61 on his first run, 54.61 on his first run. 55.18 or better would put him into first place here on his second run. 3/10 in the bank as he enters the Devil's Highway of the track. Again, this is Mike Rogels. He's going to be chasing down Austin McCrary, who's currently sitting in first. Dan Barefoot sits in second. Steve Garbett in third. Mike Rogels in track into 10, shady 2 with 5/10 to work with. Through the labyrinth, quite the skid there for Mike Rogels. It might cost him a little bit of time through 12, 13, and 14 Benham's Bend. It is. It's definitely going to be expecting his speed here. 72 miles per hour, good speed, but he's losing time here through each curve. About 3/10 to work with here in the heart, climbing up through the finish curve with 3/10 still in the bank. Solid run there for Mike as he crosses the finish line into first place by a 1/4 of a second with a 54.94 down time and a combined time of 1:49.55. We'll have Andrew Blazer up next. Andrew, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Andrew. Sled in track from start 1. This is Andrew Blazer. Sliding 1 with a start time of 5:00. Big start there for Andrew Blazer. That's going to help him out here. He was sitting in third place after his first run. Andrew Blazer wants to be sitting in first here on his second run. 54.60 downtime on run number 1, a quarter of a second in the bank here as he tries to chase down Mike Rogels. He's going to need a 54.95 or better in order to move into first. Mike Rogels in first place, 149.55, the combined time to beat. Austin McCurry sits in second with Dan Barefoot sitting in third. This is Andrew Blazer progressing through the labyrinth, still about 3/10 to work with here as he slides into curve 14. Through the chicane at 73 miles per hour, now into the heart of the track with 4/10 in the bank. He's well into the green here as he rounds out the heart. Half a second to work with. Andrew Blazer through and down into first place with a time of 54.39 and a 148.99 combined time. That'll make it Andrew, Mike, and Austin 1, 2, and 3. Alex Ivanov is up next. Track's clear to start 1 for Alex. So, led in track from start 1, this is Alex Ivanov. He was in second place after our first heat of competition. 54.32 was his downtime. 5:01 start time here on our second run. 54.67 or better would put him into first place. He's going to be chasing down Andrew Blazer. Needs to beat a 54.67, 2/10 in the bank, looking for a combined time of 148.99 or better here on the second run. This is Alex Ivanov. Chasing Andrew Blazer. Andrew, Mike, and Austin, 1, 2, and 3. Alex is in track. Austin Florian's at the top, still waiting the green light. Through 10, down through the labyrinth, sliding through 11, 12, 13 into 14. Benham's Bend, about a 1/10 of a second, losing time here. Alex Ivanov barely clinging on to the time that he has. 71.9 miles per hour, back in the red by a 100th of a second. He's going to need to be perfect here in the heart if he wants to chase down Andrew Blazer, falling back by a 1/10 through the finish curve. Alex Ivanov into second place, behind by a quarter of a second with a downtime of 54.92 and a 149.24 combined time. Up next, Austin Florian. Austin, stand by. Track's clear to start 1 for Austin. So, led in track from start 1, this is Austin Florian. He was in first place after run number 1. His downtime was 54.09. He's going to match Andrew Blazer's start time here on the second run. 5:00 start time for Austin Florian. 5/10 of a second to work with off the top of the track. He's looking for a 54.90 or better to move up into first. Entering the Devil's Highway, maintaining his lead here. Andrew Blazer sits in first. Alex Ivanov in second with Mike Rogel sitting in third. This is Austin Florian, our final sled of competition here for the weekend. Sliding 10, Shady 2, 4/10 of a second to work with, speed of 69.1 miles per hour through Shady 2. Next lines through 12 and 13, losing a touch of time there. He's got just enough track to work with, 72 miles per hour through the chicane. Into the heart, 3/10 of a second to work with for Austin Florian. Climbing up through the finish curve with 2/10 in the bank. It's going to be close at the finish line, through and down into first. 54.72 the downtime for Austin Florian. 148.81 the combined time. Congratulations to Austin Florian taking it home today. Second place we have Andrew Blazer with a combined time of 148.99. Alex Ivanov takes home third here today with a combined time of 149.24. Congratulations to all of our competitive sleds who joined us here today. Thank you for tuning in on the live stream and trackside here today. will be clear and closed until Tuesday, 10 a.m. Tuesday, 10 a.m. Once again, thank you to all of our spectators who joined us here today. Thank you to those of you who joined us online for the live stream. Once again, the track will be clear and closed until Tuesday, 10 a.m. Congratulations to our competitive athletes joining us here today. We're happy to have you here in Lake Placid for all 4 of the team trials races. Some entertaining stuff. Matt John. Matt John. Go to your radio. Matt John, the truck driver, please go to your radio. Matt John, the truck driver, please go to your radio.